If you're noticing these signs, it points to one powerful truth. You are already moving along the road toward wealth, not just the kind of wealth counted in money, but the kind that begins in the mind, where every form of richness is first created. And understand this clearly. Every great fortune, every meaningful achievement, every legacy left behind by a disciplined man started first as something unseen, planted not in the ground, but deep in the subconscious. If you are seeing these signs, it means that seed has started to grow. The first sign that you are on the path to wealth is a rising discomfort with mediocrity. You feel it stronger now than before. Where you once accepted the routines of an ordinary life, now they start to bother you. What once seemed fine, showing up without purpose, spending money without a plan, surrounding yourself with distractions, now feels heavy and wrong. This is not simple frustration. This is awareness. Your mind is rejecting what no longer matches who you are becoming. It is removing habits, people, and beliefs that kept you limited, not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Wealth begins the moment you start saying, "This is not who I am." That is the first real shift. You are no longer impressed by surface-level things. You are no longer entertained by empty conversations. You want strategy. You want depth. You want freedom, not through luck, but through clear intention. This hunger is a signal that you have crossed into a new level. You are beginning to carry yourself like a man who has made a decision, and once a man truly decides, everything around him starts to respond. Another sign is your growing dislike for wasted time. Time, you now realize, is the real currency of the wealthy. The poor often spend it without thinking. The average person trades it for comfort or pleasure, but the wealthy invest it wisely. Every second becomes a building block for your future. You no longer live only for the weekend. You live for your vision. You now understand that 1 hour spent creating something meaningful is more valuable than a year spent wishing for change. Because you see this clearly, you begin to protect your time like something precious. You say no more often, not out of pride, but because you are aligned with your goals. Every no to distraction becomes a yes to your future. You are becoming less interested in idle talk, endless scrolling, and meaningless entertainment. You are no longer available to people who drain your energy or weaken your focus. You understand that energy is valuable and attention is powerful. The man who can control his attention can shape his results, and you are starting to gain control over your attention. That is another clear sign. While others react without thinking, you act with purpose. While others consume endlessly, you begin to create. While others chase everything, you begin to attract what matters. Because you are no longer scattered, you are focused. And focus is the tool that breaks the chains of limitation. When a man is focused, he cannot be easily distracted or controlled. He walks with clarity. And a man with clarity is always ahead of a man who is confused, no matter how much money either one has. You have also started thinking about the long term. That is another strong sign. You are no longer driven by emotions alone. You are building systems. You are thinking in years instead of days. You are not just chasing income anymore. You are creating structure. You are building assets, not only financial assets, but assets of skill, discipline, and value. You are becoming the kind of man who asks, "How will this benefit me in 5 years?" instead of asking, "How does this feel right now?" That small change in thinking is what builds empires over time. You see money differently now, and that shows growth. Where you once feared money or misunderstood it, now you respect it. You understand that money is a tool, not a master. You understand it increases what is already there. It does not fix everything. Most importantly, you now see that money comes from value, not just effort. You stop trading only your time for income and start increasing your value through ideas, systems, and leverage. This is what wealth thinking looks like. Wealth is not just a number. It is a way of thinking, and your thinking is no longer limited. Limited thinking complains, blames, and waits. Wealth thinking creates, solves, and acts. You stop blaming your past. You stop waiting for approval. You stop looking outside for signs. You become the sign. You become the one who takes the first step. You are now the one who says it begins with me. That is real power, and power always comes before prosperity. Another sign you are on this path is your strong desire to grow. You are reading more, learning more, asking better questions, and listening to conversations that challenge you. You replace gossip with learning. You replace complaints with action. You replace ideas without action with real execution. And even when your actions are not perfect, they are building momentum. Momentum is one of the most valuable assets for a man chasing growth. Not speed, but momentum. Speed can fade, but momentum builds over time. Every disciplined day you complete, every focused hour you finish, every difficult choice you follow through on adds strength to your character. And that strength creates presence. People can feel it. Opportunities respond to it. When the world senses your seriousness, it reacts. You are becoming serious now. Not serious in attitude, but serious about your purpose. You smile more, not because life is easier, but because you are in alignment. You do not panic the same way when things go wrong. You stop making excuses. You no longer talk about your goals casually. You carry yourself like someone who expects success. You move like a man who has already seen the outcome in his mind. Every successful man shares one thing. He acts before the results appear. He does not wait for success to prove his worth. He behaves like success is already certain. He plans like his vision is already real. And now you are beginning to do the same. You imagine your future clearly. You speak positively about your life. You choose your words carefully because you understand that words have power. Your language is changing, and that is a strong sign. You stop saying I can't or maybe. You start saying I will and I am. You remove doubt from your speech. You stop repeating stories of failure. You use your voice to shape your future. When a man controls his words, he shapes his reality. Your environment is also changing. That is another sign. You are growing beyond certain conversations. You are leaving spaces that are built only on comfort. Not because you feel superior, but because you are building something greater. As your vision grows, your circle becomes more focused. You understand that who you are around matters. You begin placing yourself in environments where growth is normal. You learn that you do not have to be the smartest person in the room. You only need to be in rooms where people are thinking at a higher level. You become a student of wealth, not just money, but principles, mindset, and long-term impact. You are no longer just looking for ways to earn. You are building a system, a way of living, a personal code, and that code is moving you forward. Another sign is how you deal with challenges. Difficult situations no longer break you, they shape you. Where you once struggled under pressure, now you learn from it. You begin to see every obstacle as training. You stop fearing failure and start learning from it. You do not run from pain. You turn it into growth. You take lessons from it and use them as fuel. Because of this, you move through hard times with strength. This is the sign of someone preparing for greater responsibility, because real wealth requires strong character. If you see these signs, your character is growing. You become more reliable. You keep your word. You finish what you start. You show up even when you do not feel like it. You are becoming someone who can handle more, and trust always comes before reward. When you can be trusted, opportunities come to you, not by chance, but because you are ready. You are no longer guessing your way through life. You are taking action. You are no longer just hoping. You are building something real. And that is one of the clearest signs of all. You are moving toward wealth. There comes a moment in every man's journey when he feels a quiet shift, not because of what he owns, but because of who he is becoming. This change is not loud. It does not come with attention or praise. It shows itself in your standards. It appears when you hold yourself accountable, even when no one is watching. It becomes clear when you do what others avoid, because you know your future requires it. If you see these signs, you are no longer chasing money. You are becoming the kind of person money follows. And remember this, a truly wealthy man does not lead with money. He leads with value, clarity, and purpose. He understands that wealth is not chased, it is attracted. You attract it by being useful, dependable, and excellent. Every time you increase your value, your potential increases. Look at your habits now. If these signs are present, your habits are starting to match long-term success instead of short-term comfort. You no longer eat only for enjoyment. You eat to support your energy. You no longer sleep to escape. You rest to recover. You no longer scroll without thinking. You read and learn to grow. These are not small changes. They show that your identity is changing, and identity drives everything. When you change how you see yourself, you change what you accept. A man with limited thinking allows bad habits. A man focused on growth builds discipline. Discipline is not a burden. It is an advantage. It protects your time, your focus, and your emotions. Without it, nothing can last. With it, everything becomes possible. If your mornings are becoming more organized, your environment more intentional, your schedule more structured, it is not random. It shows that you are preparing for responsibility, not just survival. You cannot carry greater success if you still think like someone just trying to get by. You must think like someone building a legacy. A man focused on legacy does not waste time arguing. He does not chase approval. He does not measure himself by applause. He stays grounded in principles. He understands that real wealth is not only about how much he earns, it is also about who he becomes while earning it. It's about how much he creates, how much he protects, and how much he can pass forward so the next generation doesn't have to begin from zero. Another clear sign you are moving toward wealth is that your relationship with work has evolved. You have stopped asking for things to be easy. You are no longer searching for shortcuts. You have stopped admiring passive income without first becoming actively useful and skilled. You now understand that leverage only works when real value exists. You see hard work as something meaningful, not something to run from, but something to learn and master. You no longer look at effort as a burden. You see it as a doorway, because every repetition, every focused task, every hour of intentional action builds your ability, and ability becomes currency. Wealthy men become highly skilled in something, not everything, but something specific. They commit, they improve, they simplify, and in that simplicity, they discover real strength. You are no longer distracted by every trend. You are not jumping from one idea to another. You have chosen your path. You have chosen your mission. And now you are going deeper, building real depth, because surface effort gives surface results, but depth creates control and authority. Another sign you are on the right path is that you have learned to manage your emotions. Where you once reacted quickly, now you respond with thought. Where you once panicked, now you pause. Where you once took everything personally, now you step back and examine it. You understand that emotional intelligence is not weakness. It is strength. It allows you to move with strategy while others move with impulse. It helps you make decisions based on values, not pressure. And that difference, that inner stability, is what builds a man who can lead, who can create, who can multiply. And multiplication is the key, not only for money, but for yourself. When you begin to think about multiplying your time, your skills, your vision, your message, your thinking changes. You enter a different level, because wealthy minds do not just spend, they multiply. Poor thinking only consumes. It looks for the next pleasure, the next distraction, the next quick feeling. Wealthy thinking delays pleasure, in order to multiply results. That is why you are learning instead of endlessly scrolling. That is why you are building systems instead of escaping pressure. That is why you are investing your energy instead of wasting it. You are beginning to understand that every action you take is either helping you or hurting you. Every habit either builds your future or slowly breaks it down. And because you have seen this clearly, you are now making decisions based on your future self, not your current mood. This is the shift most people never make. The moment when your vision becomes stronger than your emotions, when your reason becomes bigger than your weakness, when you choose based on results, not comfort. This is not just improvement. This is preparation for real abundance. You are now preparing with structure, not just ideas. You have started tracking what you do. You watch your energy. You review how you spend your time. You pay attention to your money. You observe your behavior. Not because you are obsessed, but because you are responsible. And responsibility is the base of freedom. A man who cannot handle responsibility cannot handle wealth, because wealth will leave a life that is disorganized. But it is naturally attracted to discipline, to care, to intention. Another sign you are progressing is your self-talk. It has become stronger and more controlled. You no longer destroy yourself over mistakes. You learn, you adjust, you speak to yourself with purpose. You remind yourself of truth. You understand that you must lead yourself before you can lead anything else. And that leadership begins when you face yourself honestly. Every day you choose which voice to follow. And now you are choosing the voice that builds you. You are creating yourself with words that give strength. That is not weakness. That is control. You no longer depend on hype. You have grown beyond motivation without action. You are no longer impressed by flashy lifestyles that have no base. You respect consistency. You value humility. You look for wisdom. You would rather stay quiet and succeed than be loud and empty. And this internal change, this deeper character, naturally attracts lasting wealth. You have also become more aware of things people cannot always see. If you notice these signs, you have likely become more sensitive to energy. You can feel when something is not right. You can sense when someone's actions do not match their words. You can tell when an opportunity is not meant for you, even if it looks good on the outside. This is not weakness. This is awareness. Your intuition is becoming sharper. And a wealthy man trusts his instinct, not from emotion, but from understanding. You are more aware now, not fearful, but conscious, aware of your habits, your patterns, your blind spots. And this awareness gives you the ability to adjust before problems grow. This is what separates the man who keeps his success from the one who loses it. It is not just intelligence, it is awareness and humility, the ability to learn, to adapt, to ask better questions, to grow while others become proud and careless. If you see this humility in yourself, then you are standing on something important, because the path to wealth is not common. It is not for everyone. It is for those who stay committed, the man who continues when things get difficult, the man who decides when others hesitate, the man who gives up short-term approval for long-term success. That is who you are becoming. You do not just want more anymore. You are becoming more. Your life may not fully show it yet. You may still be in the early stages. You may still be climbing, but deep inside, you already know you are different. Your thinking is sharper. Your intentions are clearer. Your actions are stronger. You are no longer who you used to be, and you are not going back. That is real wealth. Not just having, but becoming. Every sign you are seeing is proof that you are turning into someone who can handle wealth, manage it, grow it, and pass it on, not just in money, but in mindset. And that is priceless. If you are still seeing these signs, and more importantly, living them, then understand something most people never say. Wealth is no longer just a possibility for you. It is something that will happen, Why is that true? Because you have already become the type of man wealth is meant to follow. You are no longer chasing money like someone hoping for luck. You have earned the ability to expect results, not from entitlement, but from alignment. Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, and your standards now reflect abundance. Look at how you treat your mornings now, not as stress, but as an opportunity. You wake up with direction, not confusion. You prepare instead of reacting. You take control of your day instead of letting it control you. And every day that begins with intention plants a seed. Over time, those seeds grow into something powerful that cannot be stopped. Wealth does not go to scattered minds. It flows to focused action. And you have become focused. Even your goals have changed. You no longer chase status. You look for meaning. You no longer want money just to feel powerful. You understand that real power is control over yourself. You have learned that freedom is not about having more, but needing less. From this mindset, you have stepped into a higher level, because the man who needs little cannot be controlled. He cannot be distracted. He cannot be bought. And because of that, wealth naturally comes toward him. You now understand that the richest people are not the ones who only collect, but the ones who create. You focus on creating value. You no longer ask what you can get. You ask what you can give that grows and multiplies. This is the difference between people who hope and people who build. Those who hope wish for change. Those who build create it. They know money follows value, and value comes from clear thinking and strong skills. And you are sharpening both. Every day you think more clearly. Every day you solve problems faster. Every day you speak with more purpose. These are signs of someone preparing for something greater. And we cannot ignore the inner change that comes before every big result. Identity. When your identity changes, your reality begins to follow. You no longer say you are trying. You say you are becoming. You no longer say maybe someday. You act like it is already happening. You walk like it is real. You work like it is real. You plan like it is real. And the world responds to that because energy is real. When your mind is decided, your actions align. Even when no one is watching, you are building. You do not need constant approval anymore. You show up because it is who you are. You hold yourself accountable. And that self-respect, that honesty, is what strong men are made of. Wealth without character does not last. But wealth built on identity, purpose, and discipline continues for generations. Now, it is not about if it will happen. It is about when. Because the man you are becoming is already decided. You no longer make choices based on fear. You make them based on your future. You no longer ask what is easy. You ask what is right for the person you are becoming. You have stopped planning around fear and started investing in belief. You treat every resource like it matters. Every action has purpose. Every conversation has meaning. And because of this, results will come. You communicate clearly. You value your time. You protect your energy. You move with calm focus. You think ahead. You take control of your value. You no longer wait for others to recognize you. You recognize yourself. You have made peace with being alone. What once felt uncomfortable now feels necessary, because in that quiet space, you grow. You think. You build. You improve. The man who can work in silence can succeed in any environment. You have faced yourself honestly, and instead of avoiding it, you improved. You stopped depending on others to keep you disciplined. You hold yourself accountable now. You keep your promises, even when no one sees. And when your private life matches your public words, that is true wealth. You have developed vision, not the kind people talk about, but the kind you feel deeply. You see your future clearly. You take action even without recognition. You plant seeds when others complain. And because of that, your results will come. You are no longer shaken by delays. You are no longer broken by rejection. You are no longer stopped by failure. Because you have trained your mind to see every challenge as preparation. You turn problems into progress. You turn loss into lessons. You turn waiting into direction. You have made excellence a habit. You have made integrity your guide. You focus on systems, not just goals. Because systems create results, and you are building daily. You focus on small wins, knowing they grow into big success. You are building something that lasts. You are not here to impress people. You are here to create something meaningful. And this mindset makes wealth certain. So understand this clearly. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are being shaped. Everything you are becoming now is happening for a reason. These habits, this focus, this confidence, they are signs that you are becoming who you were meant to be. That version of you is already inside, and every day it is growing stronger.